So welcome to another episode of Spilled Milk with your guest, with your host, Only Rans. We got a very special guest, a stand-up comedian, a funny guy. We got the Punjabi Timbit, Jesse Singh, all the way from Toronto. What's up, my brother? I appreciate you, bro.
Thank you for having me, man.
For anyone who doesn't know, plug yourself in, who are you, what do you do, and all that stuff. And I'm going to be straight up, I didn't take too deep of a dive because all this came together so quickly. So, let the audience know who you are.
For sure, bro. Like you said, I'm a stand-up comedian from Toronto. I've been doing stand-up for about 8 years now. I've been a youth worker for around the same time.
Oh, wow.
So I've been doing a little small tour across Canada. It's all independently funded, so everything is all me.
Yeah.
We started off in Edmonton, Calgary. We're here in Vancouver, and then we're going to take it to the East Coast in Halifax, and then we're ending off in Ontario. So
fair enough. I mean, okay, so where are you doing your research from in terms of like Halifax? There's a large fan group in Halifax, or enough people you think that would get out there, or you kind of just you know what, there's something here, I can kind of wing it, there's a comedy scene, I can go.
Yeah, it's kind of just, honestly, it's just kind of fucking off the cuff, bro. It's just finding out local comedians that are from those cities, or building connections through comics that I met in Toronto who have connections to those cities, and then just kind of building it off of that. So I would message bookers, find venues, or connect with other people who have done shows out there. Yeah. And then see what venues are popping, and then kind of connect with them, produce a show. But a lot of it is very much grassroots. So it's not I have a fan base in these cities. A lot of it is just trying to plug and promote as much as I can.
You're trying to build a fan base.
Yeah, trying to build the fan base and kind of get local acts onto the show. Yeah. Because in that way, at least I get to integrate myself and network with the local comedy scene, so the comics know me, and then hopefully from that I can kind of get people out to the shows.
Oh, that's
as well.
fucking dope, man. That actually is down the road, especially when you hit different levels, you look back at these moments. That's really cool, man, that you're kind of just you're just going for it, right?
Yeah, thank you, bro. Appreciate it, man.
So what do you do for work? What's your day job that's kind of getting in your
I'm a youth worker. So I've been working at
keeping the kids off the streets.
basically, bro. But I've been doing that for 8 years, and I've been in several different programs. So
right out of high school you started doing this, or
right? I went to school first, so I got my degree in psychology and social work, and then I jumped into this one organization, but it kind of had different sectors. So I was working in the shelter system. So I was working with at the youth shelter. Then I transitioned into what I'm working in now, which is kind of the family natural supports program, which is just youth that are out on the streets or just estranged from their families. Yeah. I try to help build a better connection, get them back home, stuff like that.
And this gives you a lot of content for your comedy.
Yeah, more or less. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So there's this kid, right? He can't even afford to eat. Yeah. What's up with that?
Oh, not like that. What the fuck? I don't know if that part about it is funny, but Jesus.
No, I'm just joking.
Yeah, that's good.
But honestly, so I mean, that is the thing with comedy, and it's all a narrative or a different viewpoint on whatever you're kind of dealing with in day to day, right?
Yeah, definitely.
And is it frowned upon that you use that as kind of content? Not only that, but is it cool that you're able to use your youth work and things?
To be honest, I don't really talk about too many stories from there. Or if I do, I'll change the setting. So I won't really say that I'm talking about the shelter, just out of respect for
of course,
for the young people I work with. Because I don't want anyone to come to a show and then they're like, yo, this guy's talking about me. Yeah. You know what I mean? So I'll try to change up the setting or the scenario a bit, and I won't use their names just out of fucking respect for them. But they're fucking hilarious though, right? Because I think that's the other thing people don't recognize is that the funniest people are usually the ones that have been through the most shit in their life.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Man.
So a lot of these young people are fucking hilarious. So I do take a lot of inspiration and stories from that. So but yeah, man, I think there is a lot of content there. I kind of switch it up so that,
I've gotten into trouble with that a bunch of times, even just on the podcast scene, where I tell stories about girls I've been with in the past, or, friends had a certain situation happen. I don't say names, obviously, but they're why would you tell that story? Other people are going to know it's me. Yeah. There's a big spotlight effect always.
Yeah, for sure, bro.
I'm just giving, my take on it. So I kind of out here in terms of the comedy scene here, from what you've already seen, Like very quickly, like now, like in like the short period of time compared to Toronto's comedy scene? Like, is Toronto's like way more well established, or do you think like Vancouver's got like a very thriving scene as well?
Bro, I was here like I came here like a couple years ago, like 3 years ago, and to be honest, it was there was like really nothing happening in terms of comedy scene because there was a lot of bigger clubs at the time. So a lot of the if you weren't in with the clubs, there was no real independent market here. But now, to be honest, the Vancouver scene's popping, bro. Yeah. Like, it's grown tremendously. There's a huge demand for, like, independent artists and comedy, which is sick. Yeah. The biggest difference, I would say, though, is that, like, I thought Toronto was PC, but there's a lot of rooms here that, like, you know, sometimes people don't really rock with certain shit. And I'm like, I didn't even say nothing offensive yet. You know what I mean? But overall, they're like, yeah, man, I think the comedy's been dope here. And there's a lot of spots that I love. Like, you know, shout outs to the Underground Comedy Club. Like, that's the type of shit I love. It's like, if anyone's never been there, it's like a small, like, speakeasy vibe. It's like like in a basement, 50 people, low ceilings. It's like comedy is like supposed to be like that. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's supposed to be like hidden, tucked away, because it's like, yo, this is like almost like a speakeasy type shit. And like, you don't feel ashamed to laugh at certain shit. It's like, you know what I mean? It's like a secret, which is sick.
Absolutely. And you can kind of play off the energy right there and there. Like, one thing is, like, so now I, like, you know, I've actually done a handful of open mics myself. And, like, I've always wanted to do the comedy thing, but for whatever reason, I don't bring myself to go to the comedy club, put my name down. If you don't get a spot right away, then you kind of waste that week. It's like a whole thing. Like, and I do find that some of the places out here are a little bit cliquey, which is fair. Yeah, you gotta show up and be in the scene before you start getting the good spots, right? That's gonna be normal almost anywhere. Yeah. For someone who's trying to break in the scene from scratch, what would you give some advice on?
Bro, I mean, to be quite honest, like that, there really is no way around it. Like, you kind of just have to fucking go through the trenches, bro. Yeah. Because, like, I remember even when I started in Toronto, like, the open mic scene there is kind of dying down now. Really? But, like, after COVID, like, a lot of those smaller bars and shit shut down. Yeah. So, like, but the independent scene grew a lot more. So there's a lot more, like better shows that are happening. Yeah. Like, a lot of new comics that are coming in. And a lot of them are great. Yeah. Because, like, you know, these are guys that have been born into this generation. So they're really good with the whole social media shit. So they'll sell out shows. But the problem is that sometimes, like, it's a lot of newer comics. Yeah. So they'll sell out a show, but the comedy's fucking trash. So it's like the audience is like, this is what Toronto comedy is. You know what I mean? Yeah. And then it's hard to build the return following. But yeah, the shows have been popping. And I think for here, the one thing I will say is because there's not as many shows, like, I can understand what you're saying about the cliquish part, because it becomes way more like everyone's fighting for a spot now, of course, in the same places. Yeah. So it's like, it's going to be way harder to, like, break into the scene, I would imagine, if you're starting out in Vancouver. But ultimately, like, there is no way around it. Yeah. Like, you kind of just have to fucking run through the mic scene and then, like, get comfortable on stage. Yeah. And if anything, like, doing a lot of those shittier shows is just going to make you better as a comedian. Calluses you, right? Yeah. You know, you build the callus, you build that thicker skin. And 100%.
No, fair enough, man. So with the way that you're coming down here, you kind of just reached out to promoters and were like, hey, listen, like, I want to put on my own show. And, like, how, like, what's that process like? How do you get the bookings? How much you pay for the bookings? Yeah. And then, like, you kind of do this math of, like, I think I can get X amount of people in there and fucking.
Yeah, I mean, to be completely honest, I've lost a lot of fucking money so far on this shit. But bro, the best way of, like, that's kind of essentially it. Like I was saying, you kind of look for other comedians who may have already done shows in certain cities, and then you can kind of reach out to them, ask what their experience was like, and then based off of that, you can connect with venues. And then try to build something there. On average, like, obviously the rental fee depends on the venue size, but you're looking at anywhere from, like, $150 to $250. Yeah. But then, you know, the other behind the scenes expenses that people don't see is like the travel, like
Hotels,
paying for flights, Airbnbs,
Yeah.
Car rentals.
You're staying on anyone's couch right now?
No, in Edmonton I was, but I don't know anyone in Vancouver, so I have to get a fucking a lot of that though, bro. A lot of just couch surfing on comedians, cribs and shit like that. And like, as a comedian myself, I love comedy, but sometimes working with comedians is a nightmare, bro. They're psychotic. You know what I mean? Everybody's nuts.
Absolutely.
You don't get into this shit because you're normal. You know what I mean?
You don't think is like, you might see somebody online, you might think they're cool, and like, you get into like, okay, I'm going to stay with this guy, and because he said yes. Not because you necessarily gelled, but this guy said yes, I can hang out. And then like, you see people who they are, it's like, fuck, I don't even know if I really fuck with this guy.
It's crazy, bro. That's why it's good to know the person for sure. But yeah, man, I think, like to answer your question, I think that's why the whole aspect of having a day job really helped with this. Cause it's
of course.
I was able to build up a little bit of savings and put in an investment to like do something like an independent tour for myself. So
no, that's fucking dope, man.
Thank you.
So what's the tour life been? Like, I mean, are you single or are you with
I'm in a relationship.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah.
Forget it. Forget it. Did she come with?
No, she didn't.
Okay, fair enough. I mean, I guess,
this guy's trying to get me in trouble, bro.
We'll talk about it off cam.
Yeah.
But okay, so like, I mean, give me like a fun story about like tour life where like, I don't know, maybe you got into some trouble or something.
To be honest, bro, like, it's not the fucking as rockstar lifestyle as you think, because shit gets mad fucking hectic, bro.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, I remember the first tour that I did, so it was my second time doing it. The first time I did it, though, was my homies Abbas and Mo.
Yeah.
Shout outs to them. They're hilarious. Abbas Wahab and Mo Ishmael. But, yeah, bro, it's kind of like you literally fly into a city. You'll be like on the streets just fucking promoting the show.
Yeah.
And then you'll go,
asking for donations.
Yeah, shit like, bro. Shit like that. You know what I mean? You go do the show at night and then, you wake up the next morning. You might have an interview or a podcast. You go do that. And then you go home, crash, and then just fucking head off to the next city. It's like, you don't really have time to do shit. I've been to Vancouver, but I've never explored Vancouver.
No?
Like, you know what I mean? Like, when I was here for stand-up in particular. But, like, even in, like, Newfoundland and shit like that, we were out there. I went to... That's the last time I went there. Bro, honestly, Newfoundland's fucking sick, bro.
Really?
Everybody's
said no one ever.
No, I'm telling you, Newfoundland's lit. Yeah? Like, if you haven't got... Because it's such a small, tight-knit community. Okay. Everybody's bored. So all they do is just get hammered and like just fucking party. And like they're super cool. Everybody there is just like, they're just excited to see people that don't look like them. Yeah. You know what I mean? So they're like super welcoming and shit, which is way different than what I've experienced.
Which is very interesting considering the political climate these days.
Yeah, 100%, bro. I haven't got recently, so maybe it might be fucking different now, bro.
So actually, like, what are your thoughts on that? Like, I mean, I'm sure you're seeing it every day, like, all the students are getting the hate now. Yeah. Where do you align yourself politically? Without getting too crazy on it, but where do you align yourself politically?
I mean, bro, I think the biggest thing is like, what's crazy? Like, even my, if you were to talk to my chacha, he'll probably say the same shit. He'd be like, send them home. Like, you know what I mean? Like, he's on the fucking, but like, I think the biggest thing is, bro, I wouldn't point the finger at like individuals, because there are people coming here into this country that are looking to just make a livelihood. Yeah. But I think the problem with racism or any kind of ism in general has always been that they take one person or a select few people from that group and they generalize the whole group based off of that, which is what's fucked up. Yeah.
All right, guys, we take a quick break to shout out one of my sponsors, Wolfco. Actually makes some of the most premium underwear that I've ever worn. I'm not just saying that. Like, they got the vented front here, when your regions get a little bit hot, and they got the vented back here when your regions get a little bit hot. No more sweat, no more smell. This is some really, really good underwear. And as you can see by this picture, it makes your package look real nice too. Wolfco.
Overall, though, do I think that we need a better system in terms of newcomers? 100%. Just because, like, there's no real resources when people come here. There's a lack of jobs for people that are living in the country now, not like, you know what I mean? Not just the people that are coming in. Yeah. And then on top of that, like, there's no screening process. So if people are coming in from back home or from other countries with like a criminal record, we don't, all of that is absolved. And then sometimes people fall into the same life cycle just because they have nothing else to resort to. Like, that's one thing I always say, especially working with young people, is that crime doesn't happen randomly. Yeah. Like, a lot of the time, crime is like, you know what I mean? Like, unless it's like,
actually, go ahead.
Unless you're like a rapist or some shit, like, you know what I mean? Or like a pedophile. Then it's like, you have a choice. That was a choice, brother. You know what I mean? That was a choice.
But the thing is, you know what? You probably have a much better insight considering what you actually do for your day job. So, yeah, like, sorry to cut you off there. Go ahead.
No, it's all good. But I mean, like, petty crimes and shit. Yeah. Like, a lot of that is a product of poverty. Sometimes people are just looking to get a need met. Yeah. You know, whether it be access to food, shelter, whatever it is. So then they'll resort to shit that they probably normally wouldn't, just out of desperation. Yeah. And then obviously there's the flip side where some people won't, like, you know what I mean? They're just doing it because they're fucking around. Yeah. But that's my take on it.
I think it's like, I've like recently, like, if you asked me a year ago, like, I just naturally like to be contrarian, right? I'm like, oh yeah, no, I'm conservative. Fuck it. You know, fuck everyone. But like, now I'm starting to see like the cracks start to show of like, you know, like how racist some of the people really are. And like, you know, the thing is, we always focus on the vocal minority, which is there might be a million people who see something. 99% of those aren't even going to say anything. They'll acknowledge it. They'll move on. They don't give a shit. People got their own ideas, right? Yeah. That 0.5% is going to be a, like, super racist, and the other half is like on the other side of the polarity, right? But this side right now, it's just getting like too out of hand, where I don't mind speaking against my own community, but when you start to blatantly overlook wrong, that's when it's fucked. Yeah, like 100%. There was this 22-year-old kid that got stabbed. You maybe saw the story or no? No. It happened in Brampton or Ontario or somewhere. Okay. He got stabbed by this white dude. I'm sure some sort of argument took place, but it was at like a Tim Hortons or something. Okay. And the guy was a delivery driver. Stabs this kid to death. Comment section is fucking wildin'. You know? Send him home. Fuck him. He shouldn't have been here in the first place. 1 million left to go. Like, why can't, like, racism and fucking politics aside, why can't you just allow it to be like, yo, that's fucked up that happened. Yeah. No one deserves that.
No one does. And it's a fucking kid.
This is someone's kid. It's 22-year-old fucking kid. It's like, oh, he doesn't look like it. Oh, one less beach shitter. One less this, one less that. That's when it's getting fucking really ugly. And then, like, that's where I'm starting to really be like, well, you know what? Fuck these guys. You know? Because prior to 2016... like, everyone would always, you know, Muslims were the scapegoat, always, right? They've always been the scapegoat. Point your finger, fuck everything. Yeah, they're the bad guys, right? Then after that, 2016 to about 2019, during the real estate boom, then they started pointing their finger at Chinese people. Oh, fuck these guys, they're fucking all our shit up. Yeah, and now it's just, you know, the Indian time. Yeah, where we're getting under the scrutiny, and like, I see the argument. Yeah. But, you know, it's getting to a point where people are starting to feel more and more safe in that sort of thought. Yeah. And they're posting that shit publicly with their faces on it now. It's not just blocked accounts. Yeah. And like, yo, like, some of you guys really fucking hate us, like, for nothing else other than the color of my skin.
Yeah, and I think that's the biggest fucking danger behind all of it. You know what I mean? That's where the ignorance part, like, yo, it's crazy you say that, because the first time I ever, like, experienced anything slightly, like, to that extent, I go to a lot of small towns, so sometimes you'll hear dumb shit, like, you know what I mean? But it's nothing hateful. It's just like, you know, they don't know about the culture. Yeah, they just
don't get it.
But then in like we were in Calgary specifically.
Calgary, huh? Okay.
No, sorry, not Edmonton. Okay. We were in Edmonton. We were
even at Edmonton's like pretty fucking, you know.
We were at a university. Yeah. And we were handing out flyers for the show. And then one of my boys was giving her a flyer. And then she's like, where are you guys from? And then he said, oh, we're from Toronto. She's like, oh, I don't believe in Ontario. Anyone from Ontario is not Canadian. Yeah. And then she said, anyone under the 49th parallel is trash. And like the way she said it, I'm like, yo, this bitch said something crazy. Yeah. But I also didn't know what the fuck the 49th parallel was. So then she bro.
You could feel the poison.
Yeah. So she walks away. We started Googling it, and the 49th parallel basically refers to anyone below North America, all of Africa, parts of Asia, and Europe. Yeah. And I was like, this bitch just called us the N-word without saying it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? She's just calling ethnic people 49ers.
Was she hot?
It was a fat white girl.
Oh, okay, yeah. No, fuck her.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes when I see the racist comments, I see a hot girl, I was like, fuck, she's hot, man.
Yeah.
I was like, let me be one of the lapdogs.
Yeah. You trying to slide in? Do you like bulbs and vagina? You know what I mean?
Like, show me how much you really hate me.
Yeah. Fuck, bro.
You know, when is that coming for brown people? I mean, I'm in a relationship, you know, but now I want to see my youth eat.
Yeah.
Literally.
Yeah.
But when's that coming for us? Like, you know, in the States, like, there's all this white guilt.
Yeah.
So they fuck a lot of black dudes or, you know, Hispanic dudes or whatever, right?
Yeah.
When's that coming for us? When are the Sikhs? When are the Indian kids getting the pussy from the hot white girls now?
Bro, I feel like it's slowly starting to happen, bro.
Yeah?
You don't see I feel like I'm seeing it more in the shows.
Really?
There's always like a brown dude with some white girl there. Like,
yeah,
you know
but those are like those are those fucking guys that wear Patagonia and shit. You know?
Yeah.
They're wearing like Bloodstones. Like, they're not really.
Or like the plaid shirts, like those guys.
Yeah, well, I mean, plaid shirts. You're from Vancouver. You're gonna wear plaid shirts.
Yeah. Fair.
But they're like the guys that are teetering on the edge. They're the guys who are like, yeah, no, totally send all these fucking dippers home. You know?
No, fair.
Those kind of guys. So,
I hear that.
Like, in terms of seeing like the brown guy, like, you know, your idea of a brown guy, we're wearing sweats.
Yeah.
And you're how old? You're 30?
I'm 28.
28?
Yeah.
So you're in your late 20s, I'm in my early 30s. We're still wearing sweatpants like some fucking kids.
Yeah.
Us brown.
Yeah.
When's the blonde girl from Kitsilano, which is like a, you know, very nice neighborhood, you know, when she fucking us? You know? That's what I want to know.
Brother, I don't know. I guess, honestly, I think I don't know if that time's gonna come. I think it has to be fucking us, the Bloodstones. You know what I mean? It's either we transition or, you know what I mean?
The airy fairy types. And like, my best friend's one of those guys, you know? He's like always teetering on the edge.
Yeah. Has that shit gotten bad here though, with the stuff you were talking about the racism and like the students and stuff like that?
I mean, I think it's bad all over, and you know, to the point that, like, again, the Apne are becoming the Uncle Toms now, and they're like, oh, send these guys home. Like, okay, you guys been here for 2 generations since Trudeau's been in power. These last 8 years, the brown community from Ontario, here, Calgary, everyone's had this huge elevation in terms of wealth. These last 8 years, right? It's been massive. Now, these guys now have a reason to look down upon everyone else. And like, some of the students bring it on themselves. You know, you're at fucking Strawberry Hill, which is in Surrey. I don't know if you've been there yet. Yeah. That's like the hub of Surrey, right? Okay. And like, they're fucking hanging out at night, drinking, doing donuts, getting into fights and stuff.
Yeah, doing crazy shit.
Causing a ruckus, right? They're young kids having fun. I understand that, but they're fucking shit up. But now these guys who are established and been here for a generation or two, they're like, oh yeah, send these guys home because like, we got ours, but fuck them. Yeah. You know?
But that's what I mean, right? I think that's the danger, is that people are classifying these one group of individuals for the whole population. Absolutely. And which is crazy. And that's how it starts. Yeah. You know, because now every person is going to be identified with the quote unquote people that are the cause of the problem. Yeah. You know?
And you know what? I mean, I see it. I mean, I went to Tim Hortons today. I got a lot of attitude from these brown girls.
Really?
Oh, yeah. The customer service is definitely waning. Yeah. It's pretty shit. You don't feel that in Toronto? Like, I mean, how's the whole thing over there? Or what? Are you from Toronto or like?
I'm from Vaughan now, which is kind of like the suburbs or the outskirts, but it's like a 20 minutes away from Toronto. It's not too far, but to be quite honest, I just think like in Toronto, the baseline is that, or the foundation of it is that there is an understanding that those comments and that ideology is still ignorant. Yeah. So like whenever those things do come up, they're more isolated situations. Yeah. I don't think it's the more so the blanket understanding of where it is in some places. Like, to be honest, I think in smaller town Alberta and stuff like that, you might feel it more just because the news that they're getting and the information they're getting is not the same as like, you know, you would in a bigger city.
Yeah.
You know, so I think in Toronto as well, because it's been like over the years just used to so much diversity and they've seen like the detriment that it has caused. They're more kind of accepting of the idea, like, okay, like, let's see what the full picture is. Yeah. But that's not to say that you're not going to come across, you know what I mean, ignorance.
Of course. That,
you know,
that comes
anywhere.
And, like, we as a community, like, we shouldn't stand in any glass house either, because, like, we've been super ignorant in certain times, too. And, like, you know, to say that, for me to say that I haven't judged someone, you know, for whatever reason, based on something, I'd be completely full of shit, right?
Even if it's not race, sometimes it could just be off of like whatever, like
anything, man. You're from a different district than me. Yeah, bro. You know, you're from a different high school than me. You're from a different age group than me.
Bro, I was handing out flyers today, and like anytime I walked into a store and there was like Asian people behind the counter, I'm like, yo, they're not gonna fucking hang up my poster, like, you know what I mean? But they were the first. They're like, yeah, please, And I was like, all right, sick, bro. You know what I mean? But
no, fair enough, man. I mean, now as kind of a comedian who's kind of coming back and you're making it, you're handing out the flyers, like, how do you view this point right now? Because like, it seems like from your Instagram, you got a bit of a buzz, you're doing some things, you got shows, like, you know, your face is on posters and stuff. How do you view this moment in life? And like, do you see a clear path forward, or is it just kind of like, I'm fucking just doing what I need to do right now?
Yeah, that's such a funny credential, though. It'd be like, your face is on a poster, brother. You're fucking made it.
I mean, it at least means that you're taking it serious, right? Like,
of course,
there's dates. I'm like, fuck. I was like, okay, I get it.
Oh, fuck. Bro, I mean, to be honest, I think that's where the love-hate relationship with stand-up comes in. Because, like, I've been in this shit, like I said, for close to 10 years now, almost. And, like, when I first started, social media was a thing, but it wasn't, like, popping. There was still a demand for live shows. But now it's like the only way to really sell tickets is if you have that social media following. And like, you know, I'm starting to like learn a bit about it as I go, but I'm not huge on it. I'm not really a big fan of using Instagram, like, you know what I mean? But I also know within my platform and within my genre, that's something that's necessary. So I'm just trying to figure out how to like balance both of it. You know what I mean? But in terms of the clear path, I think that's what's scary, but also like kind of freeing as an artist or like, you know, a musician, comedian, whatever.
Chill, buddy. Don't take yourself that seriously.
Brother, you told penis jokes. Fuck off.
So as an artist, you know, I'm just fucking out there. I'm living my life, and you know, it's a struggle.
Just be like, how do I make this pussy joke funny in a basement, bro? How do I get to laugh at this? But no, I think that's what's also scary but freeing about it is the fact that like there is no linear path. Like, because some people have made it like off this Instagram, TikTok shit, but I also know comedians who are literally just like really good at stand-up and at some point just were in the right place, right time, and they got seen by, you know, someone bigger at a show, and that kind of is what took them off. Like, they got good management, whatever the case is. So I'm kind of banking on the fact of like just working on stand-up, becoming a better comedian, and then wanting that to fucking propel me forward.
Absolutely, because like you don't know who's gonna be huge in, you know, a year's time.
Bro.
Could be you, could be somebody that you were cool with, so it could be somebody at a different thing. They remember you and they're like, you know what, you were fucking dope there. You know, come on to open for me for this night or fucking whichever city, right? And I guess like it is. Like, I never really thought about it like that, where the right place, right time thing would work to that level in comedy.
Because it's like, yo, like. And that's why I think the tour, like, some people are always trying to be like, bro, why don't you just go viral? It's like, I can fucking do that. You know what I mean? Like, I know how to do that overnight, bro. Like, but like, I think the other thing is that like.
All right, guys, we interrupt you for a quick shout out to one of my sponsors, Cool Cat Apparel. Shout out my boy. Premium quality goods. You know, he's got the Punjab hoodie. He's got so much new shit coming out. Limited drops. Be one of the cool cats. Get yours today. All right, guys, I want to thank you for listening. If you made it this far, please subscribe, like, comment, share, tell all your friends. This is the hottest podcast, and it helps the channel a lot, so I appreciate it. Carry on.
I think that's what's cool about the tour is that whatever following I garner from these cities is going to be organic. Like I'm meeting people in real life. Yeah. They get to know me. Yeah. So it's not just like a online interaction, you know? Yeah. Cause like even with Kevin Hart, like most people don't know this, but his first special that he did, that I'm a Grown Little Man or whatever, that was all him. Like he used to go to shows. He used to like promote his fucking tour and promote his like special. And then he would ask people to come out. So it's not like he did it through Instagram and shit. So, you know what I mean? I know it's a different world and like Instagram is a wicked tool for that. But for myself, I think it's more so I like the grassroots part of it. Even though it's more of like a struggle and
it's
like
a grind,
more of a financial investment, but it is what it is.
You know what? I fuck with that heavy, and like, you know, like I kind of relate to that because when I got into creative stuff, maybe it was like 7 or 8 years ago. Kyle, was it around that time that we all kind of got into this game? 6, 7 years ago? Yeah, it's not 5 anymore. So we've been at it a minute. We're seasoned. You know?
Yeah.
But same thing, like, you know, it's been like a slow grind. Like, you know, I've had my viral moments. Yeah. And it's usually like on like someone else's thing. Yeah. So, you know, I don't get that credit.
Yeah, bro.
But, you know, now people are giving me my flowers a little bit more now. But, you know, that whole thing of like, you know, it being grassroots and organic, like the people that really fuck with us, like really fuck with us. You know what I mean? Yeah. Even if we don't got the love of everyone, like those people that are with us, like they ride for us like heavy.
100%, bro. Yeah. And there's more of a loyal following.
Yeah, 100%.
Yo, I've seen so many people get big off of fucking Instagram and TikTok, and they're like big for maybe a couple months, maybe even a couple years, but it's not tangible. Yeah. You know what I mean? Because the people that wrote out for you want you to be this, and that's the biggest thing I'm scared of is that like I go viral off of a specific kind of video that I didn't even want to do. Yeah. And now I got to play this character. Yeah, and it's I don't want to do that, bro. Because as a comedian, that's like my biggest nightmare. I don't want to be just the brown comic. Yeah. You know what I mean?
No, that's crazy, man. I mean, we're talking the same language because like I feel that all the time is like you go viral for something that maybe you didn't even think was that good. Yeah. Or you get a lot of buzz for something you didn't even think that was that good. People see you as that guy now. Yeah. And people assume that you're going to be that guy anytime they see you. Do you struggle with like people expecting you to be on all the time?
100%, bro.
Yeah, as a comedian, tell me a joke. Yeah, make me laugh.
Honestly, I'm glad you didn't fucking ask me that. Because I did a interview for Omni News Channel. Okay. And like, no, it's not okay. It's Omni News. It's not like,
that's pretty dope. That's like a big deal.
It was cool because
Dilbert Conger.
It was cool for me because that was the one thing that like led me to my mom's group chats. Yeah. Like the whole time she didn't think it was real, but now all the auntie were like, she's like sending them videos and shit.
This guy's on now.
Yeah,
He's not just a bum anymore.
Yeah. He's on there. Bro, this guy asked me that on Omni News. Like, be like, tell me a joke. And I'm like, bro, I don't know how to do. Yeah. You know what I mean? We're in an interview. Like, this is not a fucking stand-up.
So, like, okay, like, I'm sure you've been to some of these, like you ever go to these, like, art parties or anything like that?
Like or, galas and stuff?
These galas or, like, you know, like, where people aren't really real.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, yeah, this is Jesse. He's a comedian.
Yeah, like a network.
He tells some funny jokes. Oh, really? Make me laugh.
Yeah.
And, like, you know, where people take themselves too serious, where people say that, oh yeah, I'm an artist. Yeah. So you fit right in.
It's an art, bro.
No, absolutely, man. It's an art. The life of an artist is to, you know, live art. You're free. You know, you're out there.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, that's always an interesting one where people think that like who you are, like that's just it. Like we saw you online, you're that guy. Yeah. You know?
Yeah, bro. And I think like that's what's crazy to me is that like I don't ever want to be pigeonholed into that, but sometimes people don't get it. Like, you know, and I kind of get conflicted. I don't know if this ever happened to you, but sometimes I get conflicted. I'm like, yo, maybe I should just be like working on the like certain ideas or stuff that I have that I know would work, but my heart's not really in it. Yeah. But I'm like, I know this would get more views. Like there's certain jokes I have in my set that like I know would kill in a room full of white people. Yeah. But sometimes I get hesitant to do it because I'm like, what are they really laughing at? Yeah. Like, are they laughing at the joke or are they laughing at me? Yeah. Like, or my people? You know what I mean? And I'm like, that's what makes me feel fucked up.
Yeah. You know, I got this one joke that most of my comedy's pretty self-deprecating.
Yeah.
But I had this joke where, like, you know, like when you grow up as a Punjabi Sikh kid, you know, you were wearing the patka and stuff. The worst thing you can do in like high school is like grab a guy by the patka, right? And, you know, fuck around with them. So my whole joke was like, you know, I was like, that's always been deep in my bones. Like, I don't like people fucking around. Like, you know, I don't want anyone touching my patka. I was like, so imagine my surprise when I started to eat pussy.
That's pretty funny.
I killed on that one.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
You know? But what is your content for comedy?
Like, what do I talk about?
Yeah, like what's your
a lot of it
thing?
is just like, personal stories and stuff. Like, I share stories about like growing up with, you know, immigrant mom and stuff like that. My dad wasn't around. Like, they kind of split when I was 8, so I talk a little bit about that as well. But a lot of it is, like I said, personal stories. Share stories about relationships, stuff like that, or like working at a special needs daycare center. Yeah. Like, I'll talk about that, and mostly just observation shit that I see around the world.
Do you lean into the brown thing a lot?
Nah, I try not to.
Yeah.
Like, I'm trying to, it's not that I don't have jokes oriented around it. Of course I do, because that's my life. That's my experience.
Of course.
But I try not to lean too heavily on it, just because, like, that is a part of me, but that's not all of who I am. And I also think that's what people expect you to do. Like, as an ethnic comic, they want to hear about, like, you being Indian. Yeah. You know what I mean? And that's what I'm talking about. Like, some of those jokes I know work really well in small towns, but I'm like, what part of the joke are you laughing at?
Absolutely.
Is where I'm like, okay, I want to expand my fucking horizon.
I may be here to make you laugh, but I'm not a fucking clown.
yeah, exactly.
Absolutely, man.
Yeah.
So beyond that, I mean, like, your age group for like the people who kind of come to your shows, like, would it just be your age, or like younger kids, or fucking what is it? Really?
Like, I've done cleaner shows, so like I've done shows for younger age groups, or even like radio or TV. Like, it has to be TV clean for tapings and stuff, so I can do clean material. But overall, if it's like a show that I'm headlining, I'd rather be able to be free form. Yeah. And like, realistically, like, it's open to all ages, but like, if younger kids come, just know you're going to hear it. Or like, you know, people come, sometimes parents will come with their kids. I've seen that. And it's like, your kid's going to hear some fucked up shit. You know what I mean? You're free to bring them.
So like, what does clean comedy look like? Because then that's something that, like, you know, it just stood out to me because, like, it makes me cringe. I hate clean comedy.
Do you know?
Because it's just like not that, like, I want to be inherently vulgar or like, like over the top or anything, but like, I want to be loose with it, you know?
Yeah.
I don't want to say, what's the deal with airline food? Or It's like, oh yeah. So, bro, I mean, clothes always smell like curry, you know? Curry clothes.
Like, bro, I've definitely had that mentality before, but what I've seen it done very well. Yeah. And when it's done well, you don't even see it as clean comedy. Yeah. You're like, yo, this guy's just genuinely fucking funny. Yeah. And then you don't realize until after, like, yo, he actually didn't swear or talk about anything crazy in his set. And like, do you know Nate Bargatze?
I don't know.
He's like a bigger comic. He's on like Netflix and shit. But he's like another clean comic, but who's hilarious. And he was like the first person I saw that I thought his writing was incredible, but also was like, yo, this guy's completely clean, but you don't even really see it. Yeah. Like, you don't hear it because he's just talking about regular shit, like just relationships, talks about like performing in a jail and stuff like that. So I think like there is a place for it. And I do think it's like a skill set within its own. Like, I don't think it's something that I can personally do. Like I've done clean sets and I can make a set clean. Yeah. But to like make my whole act or my whole 45 minutes, that is like, I don't know if I could do that.
I guess you lean into like suggestibility when it's clean, like
for sure. Yeah.
Like, you know, where it's kind of like you get it. Yeah. Where they're going with it. But I am. Oh, it's interesting, man. I mean, what's the process of writing, like, realistically?
To be honest, I don't really write anything, bro.
I would figure shit out.
Yeah, like I'll think of a premise or like a tag or a punchline that I think is funny, an idea, and then I'll go to different open mics. I'll like talk about the idea and try to get to the punchline quicker. Yeah. And then if it works, I'll stick with it. If not, then I'll scrap it. But that's kind of my process, is like, it's called writing on stage, which is you don't really write. You kind of just workshop shit, workshop ideas. But that also, as I got older, started like having its fucking negative side effect, because now like sometimes when people will come up to me after a show and be like, yo, how come you didn't do that one joke? And then I'll forget I even had it because I just started working on new shit after.
Absolutely. But, I mean, like, what is the thing of like, if I'm somebody, why would I want to hear a joke again and again? You know what I mean? It's never really better than the next few times. It could be polished a little bit, but like the first time you hear something groundbreaking, like that's it, right?
Yeah.
Like some guys really kind of break it down to a science, like, you know, like the Schultzes of the world, right? So he was over here and he did this one joke where, like, I mean, are you a big fan of Schultz or?
Yeah, I was a huge fan of him when he first started. Yeah. Like old Schultz, I love.
Yeah. Rich Schultz is a little bit different, right?
But the thing is, that's with I would say that's with any comedian though, man. I think you hit, and it's not to like throw shade. I still think he's incredible at what he does. But I think with any comedian, when you hit a certain level of fame, that's what happens. Is that people just want you to play this. Yeah, you know what I mean? And then you kind of get stuck doing that, like. You start feeding into that character. Yeah. And I think that's kind of what happened to him. Yeah.
So one thing this guy did when he came to Vancouver is like he was making a joke about his wife had like dilation or something of like, I don't know if it was 4 inches or 4 centimeters or whatever. And then he's like, oh, the doctor came in. He's like, okay, she's a 4. And he's like, dude, my wife's at least a 9, right? Like who's hot? And he's like, I know what 4s look like. And he's like, I've been to Maple Ridge. Now, Maple Ridge is this like shitty ass place here, but like, it's, you could do that joke anywhere almost. You kind of get what I mean? You could do that in Toronto.
Just need a city.
Like, what's the ugly town in Toronto?
I guess you could say Aswa.
Oshawa. There you go. So you could say, he's like, I know what 4s look like. I've been to Oshawa. Yeah. You could do it in California, anywhere.
Yeah, and he's really good at that. Yeah. Like, he's really good at it. He
really figures out, you know, all that kind of thing. And like, those are the jokes that people like, that was the biggest laugh. Like, the whole night. And
that's what I really appreciate about him. Yeah. Is that like even when he does the race shit. Yeah. Like he's like a white dude talking about race, but he's not, you know what I mean? It doesn't sound ignorant. Yeah. He does his research. He knows about the culture. Yeah. So he'll pick on shit that's very specific. Yeah. Which is dope.
Yeah. You know? And like, you know, he's done it in, you know, Dubai and he's made Muslim jokes there. He does black jokes all the time. Yeah. You know, but that's exactly what you said. He knows how to kind of play it off. And yeah, he's operating at the highest level. When you see guys go from, and you're talking about like the more intimate crowds and like that's probably like where it's best. When you see guys who go from that to a theater, I've never seen a comedy show in an arena, so I'm not even going to speak on that. But I saw Stavros at like a theater. Okay. It's so fucking shitty. And really? I love Stavros. I love Stavros. Like, you know, like all the crowd work, it's awesome. Yeah. But it was the worst thing I ever fucking seen. And I gave him every opportunity for the stand-up laugh. I tried to get it going. I was like, I want this to be so good. Yeah. But he was so bad. Yeah. How do you, like, have you had the opportunity to perform in front of like a large crowd? And you feel that the energy is just way off?
The largest crowd I did was when I did the CBC Laugh Out Loud taping at Danforth Music Hall. It was about like, I think 1,300 people. Okay. Which was dope, bro. It was a beautiful space. But like you said, I think it's like, it's different when it's on a smaller stage because now when you're in a room that big, you're just like a spectacle. You know what I mean? People aren't really like, they're not involved in the show. They're just, it's almost like they're watching theater. Yeah. You know, that's not really what stand-up is supposed to feel like. It's supposed to feel like you're part of this show. Yeah. And I think that's why I love the smaller rooms. But I can also appreciate like bigger names that know how to work a crowd that big. Cause that's a fucking skill set and so on. Right? Yeah. But like, like if I had a choice, I would always love doing those smaller clubs or like, you know, even like 150, 300 seat room is dope. Yeah. You know, those are cool too because they're big enough. Yeah. But they're not like, you know, you're not performing in a whole theater.
You could probably make a decent living in like rooms that size. Right? Yeah. Like I can't remember who they were talking about. Joe Rogan was talking about it, but like it's just one female comic who like refuses to do like larger than like 500 people venues. Yeah. And so she'll park at like San Francisco. She'll be there for like 2 weeks. And she's like, I'm just going to do like these like 200, 300, 400 people. Yeah, he's like, I'm just there for 2 weeks. My family's with me. Yeah. I just go and people buy tickets to the show. I think that's fucking super dope.
Yeah, man. Bro. And that's like, to me, that would be my ideal position I would want to be in. It's like, I don't know, like it would be cool to be like fucking Schultz and Chappelle level, but I also understand not everyone gets there. Yeah. But for me personally, I just would rather be in a position where it's like I can say stand-up is my full-time career and I'm living comfortable.
Yeah.
Like I don't have to worry about money, finances. I know that if I post a show or promote a show, it's going to sell out and I can get people out, and like you can make a decent living just doing that. And that would be my ideal position.
Now, how far away do you think you would be from that, like right now? Or is still a ways to go?
I don't know, bro.
Yeah.
I mean, God willing, maybe after this tour might be the thing that helps kick it out. But like overall, it could also just be like, you know, luck of the draw. Maybe something on Instagram, TikTok hits, and then that kind of helps catapult the ticket sales. Because that's what I see a lot of people do is that like you'll see a lot of comedians or like stand-up comedians who have been doing stand-up before TikTok and Instagram, because there's some like Instagram and TikTok comedians that only did that, but now they want to transition into live shows, and they'll sell out fucking sell out clubs, but they've never done stand-up before. Yeah,
it's a different thing.
It's a different thing,
It's a completely different thing.
And like, you know, you see how much they struggle because then they realize like, oh shit, this is not the same.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And not only that though, but like the era that we're in now is that those same guys that try to transition into stand-up now, their fan base is already so loyal off the sketches. Yeah. They don't even give a fuck if you do well. Yeah. They're kind of just like...
They can do anything, right?
Yeah. They're like, yo, I got to see this guy live.
And, you know, I guess like if you're one of those type of guys who's like a TikTok comedian, then it's going to be, you just have to reference the shit that was already there.
Yeah.
People are going to go crazy, right?
Yeah.
No, but it is a really different thing. And like, I saw that, like, I've maybe gone like 7 or 8 times to do open mics.
Yeah.
And like, I think I'm a naturally funny guy, like, you know, but on stage, the timing, how to fucking hold that line, all that, it's just such a different, you know, it's a different science, right? It's a different art.
Yeah. Like one of the things I had to learn now, like from one of my homies too, is like how to work the quiet space. Because if you know how to like pause and use that momentum properly, like that can make a huge difference. Just like, you know, we're learning how to deliver a joke properly. But yeah, I think before, like what I was saying before, is a lot of these guys that I knew who were polished stand-up comedians who managed to tap into that social media world. What they'll do is they'll kind of keep both things almost separate in terms of like their creative content. So like they'll use the social media platform to still do what they're doing, like promote their like sketches, whatever, do viral videos. But then when they have a show, their stand-up act is not the same. But they're also polished at stand-up. So they'll kind of like build a stand-up audience from that. And like they've built a following that's like established enough to get people in seats.
Yeah.
So...
Oh, that's interesting, man.
Yeah.
I mean, fuck, I don't know where I was going with that. So let's talk about you.
Okay.
What else could we talk about politically or something like that right now? Well, where'd that name come from in the first place?
Bro, I wish I had a better story, but it was just like I started balding at like 22, and then everybody started ripping on me and just said your head looks like a Timbit. So I was just like kind of fucking stuck with it. Yeah. Kind of stuck and put a Punjabi Timbit behind it. And then, but yeah, man, just, you know, follow me on Instagram, follow the tour if you want tickets to the show. If anyone wants discount tickets or promos and they watch this episode, hit me up on Instagram. You know what I mean? We could line it up.
Fuck, I mean, what time's it right now? It's like 5, a bit. 7:30, I might just fucking come to the show, man.
Brother, come, bro. Yeah. That's the early show at Underground.
Yeah. And then, you know, afterwards, then I'm free, right?
Yeah.
I actually want to check it out, man. I think it'll be dope.
Please, bro.
All right, man. Thank you guys so much. That's another episode. Thanks, Jesse, for coming on.
Thank you,
check
brother.
Check them out. I mean, I'm excited, man. I learned a lot about comedy today.
I hope so, bro. You learned it's a fucking art form. And
Thank you, brother. Appreciate it.